Our rankings were just released. Oh, what's going on? Anyway, the rankings were just released for July, ¿verdad? For the 4 governing bodies del boxeo, right, for boxing. And just so you know, that means that what you see in August is for July. There was a mistake with one of the governing bodies putting in the wrong rankings, and they fixed that. Pero let me tell you something that's interesting, right? Hold on. Something that's interesting. And I have to admit that when I first saw the super welterweight rankings, ¿verdad? The 154-pound rankings, yo dije, my first reaction was probably the same as yours. I said, if you saw them, I thought, wait a second. The WBO is and piensa esto, think about it, is headquartered in Puerto Rico, right? Xander Zayas is Puerto Rican, and he just lost both, right, of his world titles to Boots Ennis. So how in the world is he still the number one, right? He's still the number one contender with the WBO, right? Meanwhile, la CMB, the WBC, ranks him 4th. The WBA has him 5th in the world. And that's fair. The IBF ranks him, I think, 8th, right? 8th. Immediately, people are going to say one word. Favoritism, ¿verdad? Favorismo. But after digging into this, I actually think the answer is much more interesting. And today I want to explain why I believe that the WBA's decision may not be as crazy as it first appears. Thank you for tuning into this channel and choosing this video. And if you're an older subscriber, thank you for continued support. I really appreciate it. Please like, subscribe, share, hype the video. I really need those likes. They're free. Just hit the like. Just hit the like. That's all. Hit the like. But before we go any further, right? Now that we got those formalities out the way, vamos a ver esto. Let's look at the rankings. Right? WBA, like I said, has Xander ranked number 5. Remember, he just held that title. The WBC has him ranked number 4. The IBF has him ranked number 8, and the WBO still has him ranked number 1. Not number 3, not number 5, not number 1, but number 1. I mean, so if you're a boxing fan, I completely understand why I raise these questions. After all, the WBO is headquartered in San Juan, Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico has produced some of the organization's biggest champions, and we know this, right? Entonces, throughout its history, Xander Zayas is one of the Puerto Rico's brightest young stars. So naturalmente, some fans, if they see this, gonna ask, is this a coincidence or is this favoritism involved because of who they are and where they are? Now, antes que vamos más adelante con esto, before we go any further, I want to be very clear with you guys. I searched for an official WBO rule, ¿verdad? That says a former champion automatically becomes the number 1 contender after losing the title. Yo lo busqué. I looked. I couldn't find one at all. There is no published rule that says that if you are the WBO champion and you lose the title, you automatically remain the number 1 contender. So if that rule doesn't exist, why is Xander still sitting at number 1? ¿Verdad? This is where I think the conversation becomes much more interesting. Let's forget Puerto Rico for a minute. Vamos a olvidar eso en un momento. Let's forget the WBO where it's located. Vamos a poner eso para el lado también. Let's pretend we're sitting on the rankings committee. ¿Verdad? Estamos ahí todo el mundo. And here's my question. Who should you actually rate ahead of him? Think about it. ¿Quién va a estar adelante en los WBO rankings al frente de Xander? Right? Seriously, seriamente. Go through the division. Look at every available contender. Right? Look at it. Has anyone since Xander, since he lost to Boots, right? Since Xander lost to Boots, has anyone done enough to clearly prove that they deserve the number 1 spot instead? ¿Verdad? Think about it. Piénsalo bien. I honestly struggle with that question because remember, Xander didn't lose to an unranked fighter. He didn't lose in an upset. He lost to Jerome Boots Ennis, right? One of the best fighters in the world and possibly climbing quickly up the pound for pound rankings. And a fighter many people will eventually become one of the pound for pound stars, which he already is one ranked. So there's no shame in losing to him. Let's say that out the bat. Especially after becoming champion yourself. Now compare that with the other sanctioning body. The WBC says he's number 4. The WBA says he's number 5. Okay, entonces the IBF says he's number 8, and that's okay because he never held the IBF, right? Or the WBC. So, okay, I understand those rankings. I understand those. But the WBO looked at the exact same division and came to a completely different conclusion. That's what makes this fascinating. Not because one ranking is necessarily right or wrong, but because boxing rankings are far more subjective than most fans realize, ¿verdad? Porque tenemos que pensar that there isn't a computer deciding these rankings, right? Based on statistical data. That's not how it works. There isn't a mathematical formula. These are decisions made by people on how they feel on a Tuesday. People weighing resumes, right? They weigh their resume out, they look at it. Recent performances, quality of opposition, championship experience, future opportunities, activity, politics, and yes, whether or not we like it or not, relationships inside boxing. Do they know each other? Do they know the committee? Do they know the people who lead the organization? Do I believe politics exists in boxing? Of course I do. Absolutely. We've seen it for decades. So that's not even a question. Do I believe sanctioning bodies sometimes make controversial decisions without question? I do. Pero here's where I think we have to separate the evidence from assumption. Do I have evidence that WBO rank Xander number 1 because he's Puerto Rican? No, I don't. I don't have that. Nobody else does either. And I'm not going to pretend that I do. What I do have is a very unusual set of rankings. One organization clearly values Xander's body of work. They really love that body of work that Xander has. Way more than the other 3. The question becomes why. Maybe the WBO simply believes Xander remains the best available contender. Maybe they place greater value on the fact that he was recently their champion. And that makes sense to me if you don't have an interim, right? Maybe they believe losing to Boots Ennis shouldn't send someone tumbling down the rankings. Those are all legitimate boxing explanations, but here's the part that I think many fans are overlooking. Let's say, for the sake of argument, that the WBO had ranked Xander 5th instead, right? Would anybody have complained? I probably not. Now let's reverse it. What if every sanctioning body had him ranked number 1? Would anybody be calling it favoritism? Probably not, but raise an eyebrow and question it, but probably not favoritism. The controversy only exists because one organization sees him very differently than the others. And that's why I don't think this is really a story about Xander Zayas. I think this is a story about whether boxing fans truly understand how rankings work. They're not objective. They're not scientific. They're not opinions. They're opinions. Opinions formed by committees, gente, people with flaws. And different committees often reach different conclusions, right? And so here's my opinion. When I first saw Xander ranked number 1, I immediately wondered if the WBO was showing favoritism. After digging deeper, I don't think I can honestly say that. Could the WBO be giving him the benefit of the doubt? Absolutely. That I can see because he was their champion and he's also a great fighter. Could they simply believe that he's still the best contender in the division? Absolutely. Can I prove favoritism? No, I can't prove that. So I can't say it is. And I don't think anyone else can, right, either. But what this ranking does prove is that the WBO clearly believes Xander Zayas is much closer to another world title opportunity than WBC, WBA, and the IBF do. And honestly, that may end up being the biggest story of all. Because if the WBO keeps him at number 1, his road back to a world title if he stays at 154, may be much shorter than most boxing fans realize. Now I want to hear from you. Do you think this is a nothing burger? And if you were sitting on the committee of the WBO ratings committee, where would you rank Xander Zayas today? Would you keep him at number 1? Would you drop him to the top 5, maybe 5, 4? Would you have him even lower to number 8, 10? Leave your rankings down below, guys, because I'm really interested in this conversation. And if you enjoy boxing analysis beyond the headlines, you already know where to go. Boxing Unwrapped is here. But really, I really want to know, where do you leave Xander Zayas at? Do you think he's going to stay at 154? Because I think that he's going to go to 160. He just hasn't made the announcement. And until he actually fights and weighs in and the bell rings, rankings won't change. I don't think he's going to fight at 154 because he had a chance to rematch immediately Boots, and he chose not to. That tells me that, yeah, let the sanctioning bodies do what they do. But Xander Zayas is going to do something entirely different. Guys, let me know in the comments down below, and I'll see you next video. And I'm out, and you know where to find me. So please hit those notification bells so you can know when I upload every single time, guys. See you in the next video, and I'm out. Peace.